Take it, I mean, it's already dark, yeah. Right. Oh, whoa, 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 what's that?
Oh, face hugger, face hugger.
Oh! Lately, the indie game Lethal Company took the gaming scene by storm. Dozens to hundreds of content creators all began showing videos and clips of four faceless workers facing unknown dangers in service of their blatantly heartless company. And in the process, more often than not, they get horrifically killed, sometimes in hilarious fashions by the multitude of monsters and beasts lurking within the game world. The vast majority of comments in these videos and clips are extremely positive in nature, praising the game's ominous atmosphere and capacity to create situations that are both terrifying and gut-bustingly funny. This is in spite of the game's seemingly simple and repetitive gameplay. Get in building, avoid monsters, find loot, get out of building, preferably alive, give food to company, and repeat ad nauseam until you can't fulfill the quota assigned to you anymore, inevitably leading to the company being forced to take the tough but fair act of doing a little bit of manpower layoff.
As you have not met the profit quota, your performance has been deemed below standard. Welcome to our disciplinary process.
So what is the secret to Lethal Company's success? Doesn't seem to be terribly innovative in its mechanics, it's not incredibly gorgeous graphics-wise, but it seems like many people enjoyed the game even more so than some recent AAA titles in the past few years. Why is that the case? And what does Lethal Company have over them? This video aims to answer the question with an analysis of my own. This is of course merely an opinion and should not be taken as an objective truth, merely an observation of an ongoing phenomena. Without further ado, let's begin. First, let's begin with a short recap. Lethal Company is a 4-player survival horror game where you play as 4 workers in a company operating in space that specializes in collecting random junks and scraps in abandoned human colonies located in several different moons. Sounds easy enough until you find out most of these items are located within an empty, dark, and spooky building filled with all sorts of nasties, varying in their danger levels but united in their desire to give you a very gruesome death. Fortunately, the company is kind enough to provide you with multiple gadgets, devices, and amenities that you can access in order to better working conditions aboard the ship and on the moons. For price of course, but really, it's only a small fortune and nothing much. You are given set quotas that you must fulfill in 3 days, and at the end of each loop, you must submit the scraps that you've managed to salvage to the company office. Success to fill the quota up will give you the wonderful reward of even higher quotas to fulfill in 3 days. Rinse and repeat until the quota exceeds your ability to fulfill in time, at which the company sends you into a correctional session to improve work performance. And that's the entire game. As mentioned, it is very simplistic and easy to understand. Lore-wise, there's not much to go other than some isolated tape recordings, Easter eggs, and brief notes from previous workers. So while there's likely a deeper story going on, it's up to the players to figure out the larger setting of the game world. You're encouraged to fill in the gaps by yourself, possibly with a healthy dose of headcanon to compensate for the lack of details. However, what details we do know is what makes it such a fun game to play, and a big part in why the game took off like it did. This brings us to the game's setting. As we know, Lethal Company is fundamentally a horror game, and the game world really shows this. The moons are all bleak and devoid of any other human beings other than the 4 members of your team. Outside the salvage building, there's little to no signs of animal life at all, other than some insects and the occasional murderous abominations that will come out after the sun starts going down. This gives us the impression that you're far from any kind of help. You're isolated within this land, and you have to rely on your own wits and strengths if you want to survive. This perception is reinforced by the environment, which varies between multiple biomes from deserts with towering mesas to foggy forests with towering trees to fog-covered tundra. The common theme in all these is that they limit your vision and reduce the amount of light covering the area, which increases the unpredictability factor and conveys to you even before you enter the building that you're not truly safe and danger might still lurk within dark spots or crevasses. This clashes with the ship that you came to the moons in. It's a cramped space, you can observe every part of the interior from a single spot. It's brightly lit, unless someone played around with the light switch, removing the possibility of something hiding in the shadows. And most importantly, there's only a single way in or out of the ship, watched by a camera and a wide range radar system on the monitors, so even with your back turned, you can still see the immediate vicinity of the entrance and the ship as a whole. Furthermore, the ability to close the ship's door for a limited amount of time provides temporary relief where nothing can ever reach you in any way whatsoever. The message is clear. This is a safe haven, a refuge, where the baddies are far away, the foreboding darkness is kept at bay, and where you have the greatest chance of fighting back against any threats the game may throw at you. And now we get to the main setting, the building. Immediately after you enter through the front door, you're given several possible interior versions, some being radically different from the other, but they all give the same signal. A large open area where the doors branch to different corners of the building, sometimes well lit and sometimes not. In this, the entrance area acts as a sort of dropship light. It is well lit, provides an unobstructed view of the surrounding passageway, and it's close to your main way after the dangers lurking inside the building. Thus, this is arguably the second safest area in the game for players, the fact that nasties can easily reach these areas aside. Beyond this area lies the true unknown, the maze of dark, randomly generated alleyways and corners where you know something is waiting to murder you. The chances are great that you'll forget the way from which you came and thus get stuck in the maze, or be killed while trying to get out. However, you have to plunge yourself into this nightmarish place, because the company is employing you to do so in the first place, and returning empty-handed isn't a decision that the company will accept. And so goes your first day, braving the darkness in search of scraps, for the most part while being absolutely defenseless and highly likely to perish without finding anything at all. Sometimes you may find rooms that are well lit and seemingly empty of threats, though empty of scraps as well. More often than not, the light provides reprieve from the threatening darkness for the players, as while you're still defenseless, you can at least see your surroundings better, allowing more time to formulate responses against anything threatening you, at least until someone takes out the apparatus, deliberately or not, plunging the entire building into darkness. And suddenly, now there's no more safe rooms, no more reprieve, no more light to help guide you towards the exit. You're forced to brave the darkness now if you want to get out of the building alive with your loot, and with all the lights snuffed, you might just not make it. In summary, the game has two general types of setting. The well-lit open areas where you generally feel much safer but has little to none of your actual objectives in the game, and the dark, foreboding alleys, corridors, and tight spaces that contains what you're looking for, but often contain the very things you're trying to avoid. It pushes you to get out of the former and into the latter if you want to have a chance of success, and if you insist on staying on the former, let's just say there's a reason why I put safe in a quotation mark. Spoiler alert, the game has quite a few ways to subvert your expectations and force you into the dark. No! 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 I beg you! No!
Oh shit.
Lethal Company's in-game controls are fairly simple to grasp. You press right click to scan your surrounding for scraps, threats, and pathfinding your way. You use left click to activate an item. You press E to pick up or interact with your surroundings, Shift to run, Control to crouch, and G to drop an item. This makes it easy for players to learn the game's core concepts and allow them to quickly become more competent at their salvage missions. The difficulty lies not in learning the controls, but to learn when to utilize them. And here is where Lethal Company becomes fairly ingenious. The game has proximity chat as one of its core mechanics. This means voices coming from you or your room are transmitted from your microphone and broadcasted into the game world. This broadcast gets weaker the more you get away from the source, making it possible to lose track of the source if it's sufficiently distant or blocked by objects. It's a basic yet neat feature that increases the already tense environment of Lethal Company, as it is possible to go off too far from your group and lose any ways of communicating with them or hear their gruesome demise from far away without knowing where it actually came from. How the fuck do you get up here? No!
That's unfortunate.
Well, looks like one of them is dead.
In addition, proximity chat also transmits noises from actions you take in-game, like running or swinging something, making it possible to determine your location just from their in-game actions. This is helpful to a degree for players, but it's even more helpful for the various horrors hunting you, as a significant chunk of their number uses the noises you emitted to figure out where you are. This is especially prevalent for the eyeless dogs, as they are, well, eyeless. They're extremely sensitive to the hearing department and can easily run down a careless player. Oh, and if you think you can spoof this by staying silent and generally not doing any moves that cause excessive noises, Lethal Company have some enemies that can track you no matter what, forcing you to make a ruckus anyway if you want to hang on to dear life. Thankfully, the company is kind enough to recognize that 4 people trying to loot an infested and possibly haunted building may need some kind of helpful items, and so the in-game store provides. Available to players are many items ranging from mundane but crucial, to fantastic but optional, to fantastic, completely optional, and arguably kind of useless outside of entertainment values. These are, of course, not covered in your contract, but to get them you have to spend the fortune you get from doing your job, which means your first cycle is mostly spent with only the very basics of item available, and with the understanding that someone will have to draw the short straw and get nothing, relying on others instead. Nevertheless, even the cheapest of items give you a fighting chance, and with them, you will have better odds of getting more loot or just plain surviving to escape the moon altogether. As you get better items, your odds continue to increase to the point that a well-equipped team can fend off the majority of the in-game creatures without trouble and hauling off massive amounts of scraps from the building. Thus, the game rewards bravery and risk-taking ventures with access toward measures that prolong your life expectations significantly and make subsequent cycles smoother. Of course, that doesn't mean guaranteed success, and failing to meet a cycle's quota means losing all that you have fought for the past 3 hours or so. In addition, many of Lethal Company's items require battery power to function. Ergo, there's a finite amount of times when you can utilize them before they become unavailable. While there's a charging station in the dropship to restore their functionality, for obvious reasons it's not an option when you're neck deep in a building while carrying gigantic amount of loot and with your group potentially in a vulnerable spot without your presence. While some of you may think to use the teleporters to quickly make it back to the ship, it only teleports people, not items, which means teleporting from the inside with the building with items in tow only serves to waste valuable items if done when there's no life-threatening situations. Thus, the players are encouraged to decide when it's best to utilize the items you carried in the building and when to conserve power so that everyone can make it out alive. In summary, to succeed in Lethal Company means learning the best ways to use these mechanics to your advantage. When to not make a sound, when to make a sound, when to decide using an item, when to sacrifice items and loot for your own lives or for others, when to not sacrifice items and make a mad dash for the exit. The game thrives on making you choose your own way of making it out alive and what sacrifices you have to do in order to pull it off. Choosing the correct sequence of actions means success and loot. Choosing the wrong one leads to death, item losses, and eventual failure to fulfill the quota. The game doesn't tell you what's best to do in any given situation. It only provides you with the means to pull them off, your reward, or your punishment. Everything else is up to the player to decide. In short, thinking rationally and planning ahead can give you better advantages. Unfortunately, the game's main strength is to wear down your rationality and decision-making abilities, which leads to the next segment. Now, how does all the things I've mentioned above translate to a game that's both fun and popular, and whose recent search eclipsed practically every other game recently? The answer is randomness. Wait, what? Randomness? What's that mean? Did you make us spend valuable minutes hearing you yapping about commonly known facts about the game just to say that it's because of randomness? What gives? Alright. I can see your pitchforks and your disappointment. Settle down please, I will elaborate what I mean here. I say randomness because the ways that all these factors intersect are practically infinite. How the game's spooky in-game setting and its mechanics affect the player's action isn't tied down. Anything is possible. I've said just before this that a rational team can more easily chart out a path to victory efficiently. But humans aren't rational creatures. We're easily affected by external factors into making suboptimal choices by messing with our emotions. And Lethal Company's settings and mechanics excel to induce all the right emotions in humans to influence our ability to make sound choices to survive in the game. Doubt, hesitation, fear, uncertainty, and so forth. You might be confident of your current trajectory towards the exit, only to realize you took the wrong turn, and now you're totally lost. Or you might find something is waiting near the entrance, causing you to be unable to get out. Or you might misjudge your ability to fend off a monster even with items you bought off the company. All these can, and for most people will, wear down their ability to stay calm and decide the right thing to do, until eventually it results in one thing: panic. And once a person panics, it can spread to others in the group, and this leads to randomness. How do you ask? Well, with the group now clouded with emotional fight or flight responses, they are prone to making gut-bustingly bad mistakes like accidentally running into more creatures, falling off a ledge, or trying to hide from creatures that can track down a person anyway. YouTube is filled with videos and clips of people panicking because they encounter unexpected scenarios that throw off their rational thinking, which often ends badly and hilariously. The fact that untold amount of people experience different scenarios of failures proves my point. You can't predict what will happen in the next few moments in the game and what will result from it. But in the end, people will always think the result as hilariously entertaining in a dark comedy sort of way. We humans are both attracted and afraid of the unknown. We always attempt to guess what will happen to us in the future. Lethal Company appeals to this. It dangles great rewards in front of the players in exchange for braving unknown factors and going through literal and figurative hell to get it. It then assaults the player with surprises after surprises, and it's up to the players to overcome them with whatever means available and claim their prize. But after finishing one run and giving the players their well-deserved reward, the game continues, again dangling the potential of great rewards. But after finishing one run and giving the players their well-deserved reward, the game continues, again dangling the potential of great rewards in exchange for braving the unknown once again. And as the continued popularity of the game shows, we humans will stop at nothing to get our dues, not even in the face of potential death and failures. And in some cases, those two are the exact reason why the players willingly plunge themselves into Lethal Company's world with no regard for their own well-being. Thus, the ultimate conclusion of this essay as to why Lethal Company is exceedingly popular is because the game's simple and easy to grasp core mechanics, in addition to a seemingly easy objective in exchange for rewards, attract many curious players, only for the game's settings, creatures, and mechanics to conspire into grinding them down into gibbering, panicked pile of meat, giving birth to many unforeseen scenarios that causes people to come back for more, not only for the chance to gain rewards, but also to experience the unexpected and the unknown. Therefore, it is indeed a deceptively simple, yet highly effective formula to success. I am Pontificate Artok, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.